This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, Mario. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks so much for asking. Thanks for meeting with me again today. Thanks for meeting with me again today. I appreciate you. Looks like we froze there for a second. Sorry
Just a
about
little
that.
bit. Just a little bit.
Technology is so much fun. So how's your week been so far?
So far, so good. Just trying to make it.
Yeah, just trying to make it. Okay, well, I'm glad you're still hanging in there. Anything in particular that you wanted to address before we get us started on the assignments we had from last week's session?
No, I think I'm ready. I don't think I have anything now.
Okay, absolutely. So if you remember in last week's session, we talked a little bit about how sometimes the way that we think can control the way that we feel and even the choices that we make and how we progress in our lives. And I had asked you to possibly write down a couple of negative, maybe even inaccurate thoughts that you're having that could be leading to you feeling depressed on a regular basis. Do you remember us talking about that?
I do.
Okay, and I know you've got a really busy week taking care of your siblings and your parental units and doing homework and everything like that, but were you able to get a couple of those thoughts recorded?
I do have a couple of thoughts.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking that extra time. I know you've got a ton on your plate. So I really appreciate you prioritizing yourself and getting that list together. So let's take a look. Did you put them in any particular order of like priority, or are they pretty much all equal plane for you?
I think that equal playing field for me, and I wouldn't say they're inaccurate because I just think that's how it is right now.
Okay, for sure. And how many did you come up with?
About 2.
Okay, no worries. That's perfect. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first one. What is that first thought that you identified that maybe we could address?
The first one that comes to mind is that I'm just a failure. That I just can't do everything that I need to do. I'm not able to. I'm just not where I thought I would be. So I just feel like I'm just not making it. I'm just a failure.
Absolutely. And would you say that's tied to your current like academic level and you haven't been referred by your advisor for counseling?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that my grades are compared to where they were in high school are just not the same. Um, I just thought my grades would still be up there as well, which kind of leads into the second one, which I just don't have the support.
I'm sorry, Mario. I am getting a clicking sound from your side. Do you know what that might be?
I don't. Do you still hear it?
Um, there it went again, but I don't hear it now. So
Oh, that
um
was me. Okay, that was me.
okay, perfect. So that's just coming through on it's making it a little difficult to hear you. I want to make
Okay.
sure I get everything you're saying. So thank you so much. Okay, so definitely you're feeling like it's just the grades and you used to do well. I'm sorry, I'm getting some kind of feedback.
Sorry, me again. I'm just nervous.
Okay, no worries. Don't be nervous. It's okay. This is definitely a safe space here. Okay, there's nothing to be nervous about. In every session that you have with me, Mario, you're gonna set the pace. So I'm never gonna do anything that you tell me makes you uncomfortable. And if I ever make you ask you a question that you're not comfortable answering, you just tell me and we'll go ahead and back up from that for now, because this is about your goals and your progress. So there's absolutely nothing to be nervous about. I'm just an ally in getting you to where you want to be, okay?
Okay.
Okay, good, good. So challenging that thought that you're a failure, is it a thought that makes you uncomfortable? Do you think it's one that you would like to change?
Yes, I would love to change that. When I was in high school, I didn't feel like that. My grades were good. I kind of took everything that I needed to take care of. And just now I just feel like I'm not where I at least was before.
Okay. So I'm glad that you're invested in changing that thought, because it will help you a lot in your daily functioning to be able to change feeling like a failure. I understand that you don't feel like it is an accurate thought, that it is an inaccurate thought. So I'm hoping to be able to help you to understand some ways that you're succeeding. So we're going to use that cognitive restructuring I was talking about. Now, when we really, really, really want to change a thought or an idea that we have, what we have to do is we have to replace it, right? So behaviors and thoughts don't just disappear. We have to take that behavior and replace it with something else. So when you think about the thought, I'm a failure, what I'd like for you to do is take a moment, and I want you to reflect on your entire uh, social contribution, right? I want you to reflect on all of the ways that you contribute to the world besides your grades. So I remember you telling me that you were a role model for your two younger brothers, you're a full-time caregiver for your parents. You're also working a part-time job, if I remember
Mm-hmm.
correctly.
Yeah, you're right.
So that's quite a bit. So when you reflect on those things, if you had to replace the thought, I'm a failure, with something positive, what might you be able to say to yourself instead?
The only thing that comes to mind is that I could do this.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Like that's a super positive thought, So how about if over the next week, well, you and I are away because we won't see each other again until next week. So while you and I are apart over the next week, if you feel that thought creeping up, like, gosh, there's so much on my plate, I'm a failure. I want you to try to just immediately replace it with that safety thought, that thought that I can do this. Do you think you could give that a try?
I could try that.
Okay, and maybe just for a little bit of practice, it's going to feel silly at first, but maybe we just say it out loud right now. I can do this.
I could do this.
And one more time, I can do this.
I could do this.
And just so your therapist gets on your nerves, one more time, I can do this.
I could do this.
And I love that smile. This is fantastic. So as you can see, just going ahead and taking that positive thought and replacing that thought, I'm a failure. Already, do you feel some kind of physical difference in how it kind of resonates with you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good. So what we're going to do is we're going to feed ourselves that positive energy by doing that restructuring of that thought intentionally until it happens just naturally. So at first it's going to feel a little bit like faking the funk, and I can do this, and you might kind of smirk and snipe about it a little bit, but it will become comfortable. And if you remember, I would love it if you could reflect and maybe write some things down, so that you can take note of how you're feeling in those moments while you're doing the flipping or the thinking. What do you think of that?
I could do that.
Yeah, good. And how do you think that would make you feel?
I think a lot better.
In what way?
Um, Maybe not be the negative headspace so much, and then just have that positive attitude.
Yeah, and that sounds like a good place to be in, doesn't it? I'm excited for you.
Because
Definitely. Okay. So that's one thought that we can challenge, and we're confident that we can do it, right?
mm-hmm.
Okay. So then what was that second thought you had on your paper there?
That I just didn't have the support like I did in high school, like from my like with friends and really just more with friends. I really don't know that many people here at college, and the friends that I do have aren't going to college, so they can't really relate to what I'm going through.
Okay, so you don't have a lot of people that were in high school with you that have moved on to continue their education.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so that's leaving you feeling how?
Alone,
Alone. Okay. And are you going to school online or in person?
online.
Okay. So I can see how going to school online and losing those connections, those daily connections to your high school friends could definitely make you feel a little bit isolated and maybe like the new kid on the block, huh? Where
Mm-hmm.
you don't have all your buddies. Okay, definitely. So does your school have advisors? Like, I'm pretty sure that we have advisors. Do you know who your advisor is?
I do.
Okay. Have you tried reaching out to your advisor for any academic or professional support?
Not yet.
Okay, definitely. So an advisor might be an untapped resource for us. And the school has a bunch of organizations, student council, different cultural organizations, some travel clubs and things like that. Have you investigated any of those kind of social outlets?
I have not.
Okay. And when you say that you're lonely and you're missing, your high school friends, um, do you think that maybe creating some new social circles could be beneficial?
I think so.
Okay, absolutely. And are there any of those friends that maybe you could still reach out to and connect with over different activities?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I think sometimes what we can do is we can tend to catastrophize, right? We decide, oh man, worst case scenario, they don't get it, and I'm out here sailing all by myself. And we forget that on the other end of the scale, there might be a best case scenario, right? Where, hey,
Mhm.
me and my buds, I remember you saying you love football, so what about the fact that you guys can still bond over football and maybe not have to worry about school for a second? How does that sound?
That sounds great.
Right? Like maybe you spending so much time being responsible and kind of immersing in your obligations that maybe when you spend time with your friends, it's a time to have a different kind of outlet. Do you think you might be able to try that?
We could try that.
Okay. So essentially, we have identified a school advisor that might be an untapped resource. We've identified some buddies that we might be able to reconnect with, as well as some social programs within the school itself that might help us to feel more rooted to the academic community. So those are quite a few resources that you've got there, don't you think?
Hmm.
Okay, awesome. Do you think you'd be willing to try any of them?
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay, which ones do you think you might be comfortable with trying to engage with?
Reaching out to my advisor.
Reaching out to your advisor, that's a great start, right? And so maybe you could ask about tutoring. Do you think you might be interested in some tutoring?
Yeah. I mean, I
Okay.
need help.
And I know that you're super strong academically, so you'll just need to catch up. There's nothing wrong with needing help sometimes. It doesn't say anything about you to need help except that you're strong enough to ask for it, right?
Hmm.
So I really appreciate you taking the time to create that list of the thoughts that we could challenge. I would love if for me, you could just kind of go ahead and explain to me what your week will look like this week with those different cognitions. So how are you going to talk to yourself differently this week?
Um, really just tell myself that I could do it and just keep moving.
Yeah, you can do it and keep moving. And how will you talk to yourself differently regarding social supports?
Well, I don't know how to talk to myself different. I'm just going to reach out to the advisor and kind of go from there.
Okay, absolutely. And maybe just remind yourself that you do have some connections that you can still go ahead and reach back to as far as those high school buddies, right?
Hmm.
You don't have to have everything in common to have something in common. Maybe that's a thought you could use to go ahead and challenge the idea that your friends don't understand. We don't have to have everything in common to have something in common, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so I'd really like for you to just try to engage with that as much as you can this week, as much as you're comfortable with. And of course, you can always reach out to me if you need anything throughout the week. If anything urgent comes up, please do reach out. Of course, if you have an emergency, please reach out to the crisis line or dial 911, okay?
Okay, we'll do.
Okay, and did you have any questions or concerns for me before we wrap up for the day?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, and how are you feeling leaving this session? Do you feel confident and secure to go into the week?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just gonna just remember stuff I could do it.
I'm proud of you. And just to check in, did this session bring up any issues for you that might create a safety issue before I see you again?
No.
Okay. Well, Mario, I do appreciate you showing up again for yourself and being so vulnerable with me today. And I really hope you have a good rest of your week, okay?
You as well.
Thank you. I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.